Hey, everybody, and welcome to Teaching Tax Flow's version of Tax Talks. So, actually, today we brought on board Tyler Austin from REISift way down in Florida. So, I'm up here in the north in Michigan. Tyler, how's it going, brother? How are you?
Dude, I'm doing fantastic. It's getting a little cooler here. I think it was probably in the low 80s this morning, so happy for that. It's been in the hundreds every morning, just melting. So enjoying this changeover to fall.
Hey, you know what? It's like you're rubbing it in, man. You see me wearing basically a fleece jacket here. It's getting your version of chili is a lot different than ours, but
Yeah.
all weather aside, tell us a little bit about REI Sift. Like really what you guys do, the types of clients you guys have, and really just give us an overview of what you guys offer.
Yeah, so REISift is a sales and marketing CRM for real estate investors and agents. What we do is we specialize in uh, really this whole sales and marketing process. So our clients use us in order to find, homeowners that are looking to sell their property or, and we also have like some roofers and really, some mortgages companies and stuff like that. Really, anybody who wants to communicate with a homeowner or market their services. They could use REI SIF, but specifically, we have other features tailored in there for the sales process to real estate agents and investors because if someone, for example, makes an offer on a property, they can track that offer inside of REISIF. So where we're different than most CRMs is that we integrate with all of the marketing platforms um, uh, like Ready Mode, Call Tools, Smart Dialer, Smartphone, Air Call. Like a lot of platforms try to do this whole all-in-one kind of thing, and we're not really about that. We specialize in the management of the data, which is the prospects, the homeowner addresses, their names and stuff, and then the leads themselves once they convert. And so we kind of go against the grain with how the process is done, and we kind of follow that Salesforce and HubSpot approach. But for real estate investors, it's like a lot different than other CRMs in the real estate space.
Awesome, man. And that's good to hear that you guys, in a sense, play nice in the sandbox, right? Your goal is, like you
Yeah.
mentioned, not to do everything. So you're not trying to do everything at 50%. You're trying to do one thing at 100%, and then obviously partnering with those others. So really, I'd be remiss if I didn't ask the question of, looking at your clientele or your client base, really, how does taxes really play a part with that? And really, why should they be, in a sense, really paying attention to it? It's around the whole tax planning and strategy, right? Like, why is that so important to them? But then also, do you feel that it's really a missing component in their world or something that, they just need to pay a little bit more attention to?
So a lot of our clients are either trying to get into real estate, right, or dabbling and then seeing success, right? We do have a good handful of clients that have already successful in real estate and in realizing the power of REI SIP and then merging it in and adopting it as their business for sure. But I bring up the difference in our customers because each of them experience a different kind of tax problem. The ones that are already in a W-2 and then they're starting to do real estate on the side, there's little things that they're not aware of. They're used to the government just, or their job holding back their taxes and then hopefully getting a rebate at the end of the month, all these different types of things. And then they close some real estate deals on the side and then they realize, wait a second, I have to pay money this time. What I find is really important is the what you guys are solving is educating these different phases of the journey of making money and then using the law and taxes as a not a negative thing but a positive outlook in how you can manage your money to make it grow really. So um, what I find hard with our user base is convincing them to dedicate just the $250 a month or whatever it is just to at least get a bookkeeper, right? This is probably where I see the first mistake being. It's like get a bookkeeper at minimum. If you just do
Mhm.
that, like they'll pay for themselves 50 times over and make your life that much easier to produce something to that profit and loss statement to your CPA so they can help you with your taxes in the best way possible. And um, So I think that's like because our user base has a lot of those individuals that are kind of, still like working to get deals. They might have a W-2. They're not used to getting a bookkeeper for their
Mhm.
personal stuff. So, like just educating and getting them to understand, that's the first step at minimum. And then we start getting the people, okay, now you're making money, right? You've closed, 60, 100,000, 150,000, and now you're breaking into that tax bracket that, especially if you already had a decent W-2, you've now made over 250,000 in your household. Now we're starting to get into some tax brackets that, if not, looked at in the right way, or evaluated at least on a quarterly basis, we're doing something with our money, moving our money, investing in different things. And we're not educating ourselves in taxes, then you could very quickly go from making 250,000 to only taking home, 100,000 or 70,000 or whatever, depending on, what's going on. And so, man, it's so important to our user base, especially as they can, start to make money, to start digging in and learning the ins and outs of taxes. And it doesn't have to be everything all at once, but at least those, baby steps to start making it a part of just the way that you live your life. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, man. And you bring up a couple great points too. It's, some of your customers, your client base, they might not be doing it full time yet, but they might in the past. Maybe they're into that transition. Maybe, in the fishing industry, way back in a previous life of mine, we used to call some guys, weekend warriors, or I think
Yeah.
still in the real estate space, sometimes they're referred to as such as well. So really having
Yeah.
tools like which, and this is not a sales pitch for what you guys offer at all, but just tools like you guys offer at REISift, tools like what Teaching Tax Flow offers, they really, in a sense, start to marry together, and everything will hopefully make that transition easier if somebody's looking to go from a W-2 to possibly being a full-time real estate investor. But then also, if they never really intend or make that jump from weekend warrior part-timer to full-timer, at least everything's set in place where they could maximize any of the opportunities that are out there, correct?
Yeah, 100%. It's kind of like, it's just having the toolbox of things that are needed in order for you to make life easier, right? Like, I always like for our clientele, for example, I always tell them, hey, like get your real estate license. It doesn't hurt to have, and having it gives you more options, to make money down the line. Maybe you stop wholesaling, real estate because it maybe it doesn't align with your core values no more, or the type of business model you want, but like at least now you can still list properties, and I think pretty much anybody in the world, if especially, I guess not the world, but in the, United States should at minimum have like their license, because everybody knows somebody that buys a house, right? If you're in a W-2 right now, and you don't have like a real estate license, and somebody wants to, sell their house, a friend or whatever, then you can do that. You can easily add on another 50 to $100,000 a year into your life just by not trying to be a real estate agent, but by just helping friends out. Yeah, it's going to cost you $1,000 a year to maintain that license and some education and stuff like that. But the added benefit to that is the fact that now you're practicing real estate, right? And so this adds other tax benefits. And so it's like it's twofold. It's like, cool, I have the ability to make more money, but at minimum, if I get my license and it costs me $1,000 a year, but I have a high income W-2, I can now probably save more in taxes just because I have that I'm paying. And so the $1,000 I'm spending isn't necessarily a lot of money compared to how much I'm going to save in taxes. And of course, I'm not a CPA or anything, so I'm not giving tax advice when I say that stuff. But like, just little things like that, by understanding what's possible, you might be making $150,000 a year right now, and this, what I'm for some of my clients that make, are in W-2s, and I'm like, listen, you might not be closing real estate deals right now, wholesaling, but like just start by getting your license, because immediately now, consult your CPA, but like now you can, save $20,000 a year in taxes, or whatever it is. I don't know the numbers, but like, I don't know. It's just like knowledge is power, right? At the end of the day, and the more that you can add bits and pieces of it, the better it is. And for our clients doing, multiple seven figures or whatever, it becomes really, really important to, not just have the knowledge, but lean on people that have way more knowledge, because you can't. It becomes a full time job trying to make sure that you don't, you're not paying taxes.
Yep.
Like it's a lot of work.
Absolutely. Oh, really? Yeah, it's not a, you might be a part timer dabbling your foot in doing something, right? But then at the end of the year, you're like, oh, I wish I would have spent a little bit more, dedicated a little bit more time and resources into making something happen. So if you had to give one piece of advice to anybody looking to get into, say, the real estate investor space, or even just a wholesaler, somebody looking to maybe start, I know on a lot of these Facebook groups, people always ask that question. They're like, what's the first thing that I should do? I know you mentioned getting your license, but what's that
Yeah.
one piece of advice that you would give somebody?
Yeah, if someone's looking to just get started, I think the very first thing to do is just analyze your goals, right? You got to understand what are you coming into it for? And then after that, the second thing would be to accept the fact that you need to be patient in the process, because if you lose patience, then you can make financial decisions that are not to your benefit because you just weren't patient enough. And then the third thing would be to keep it simple, stupid, like manual dial, click to call. I call this strategy niche sequential marketing, right? So uh, you got three phone numbers for a homeowner, dial all three. Think of it like if you're doing it on a piece of paper, you know what I mean? Dial each phone number, line out the ones that are bad. If they don't answer, go door knock them. Like keep it very simple, and do that against a niche that you can pull directly from the county, be it tax auction properties or probates or code enforcements, whatever niche kind of like seems kind of sexy to you. Go find that list from your county, pull down the addresses, skip trace them, and then just manual dial them. Close your first couple deals that way, and then repeat it again to prove that you can do it. And then after you do that, now expand upon that process, and that's something that we focus on pretty heavily.
Awesome, Tyler. Well, thanks for the knowledge nuggets, and honestly, thank
Yeah.
you for joining us here on Tax Talks, man. We look forward to hearing from you pretty soon and hearing what y'all have done down there at REISift.